30 years together, 2 children, a house, a business, plans for retirement, and suddenly the morning smells different. Not coffee, but a lie. I woke up at 6, as usual. The coffee was already bubbling in the coffee maker. The old man was watching the morning news. The children hadn't lived with us for a long time. Everything was going on as usual. But something was wrong in the air. Or he made the coffee too strong today. Or maybe I had become too sensitive. At 48, you no longer wake up thinking, I'm a princess, but with a pain in your lower back. And when you have a man who is 55 next to you, it somehow calms you down. Because you think, well, we are growing old together. Are you going to the office today? I asked, pouring milk into his cup. Roxy and I are going to the bank. She knows what to do. Who's Roxy? I asked with a smile so big that even Thibault the dog put his face on his paws in fright. The new one. The new assistant. Young, smart. Then at least someone doesn't sleep at work, he said and looked away. Roxy. The name flew past like a mosquito near his ear. It was nothing, but it itched. I didn't know then that Roxy was not just a name. It was a siren. It was a signal. Hey, run for it, the ship is going down. What do you need at the bank? I asked, pretending not to care. A company account. Change of legal address. You know, paperwork. Maybe I should come with you. Why? It's not yours. This not yours, was said quietly, but as if someone had spat in my soul. I didn't say anything. My mom always said, when you don't know what to say, just keep quiet. Let him be afraid. I wasn't afraid. When I'm a butt, I started to suspect something. When he left, I was cleaning the bedroom. The usual routine was to fold his shirts, put his socks in, check his pockets. And there was a note in the inside pocket of his jacket. Not a letter, just a piece of paper. 1 step and everything is yours. Here are 1 step. What step and why everything is yours? Is this some kind of game? And I sat on the edge of the bed like a teenager after reading a text message from a boyfriend. Only I'm not 15, and I'm not in love. I am an official wife. I'm used to it, not new. Roxy is new. Fresh, with a mind, as he said. You are, and she's already getting something. Is that it put the note back? And suddenly I realized I know nothing about this man's life. About how he has been living in recent years. Because I live with children, a garden, unfinished repairs. And he seems to be living the R life. In the evening he came back cheerful. He brought me a pizza, hugged me from behind, and whispered something in my ear. I laughed because otherwise I would have cried. Today was a good day, he said. We got everything organized. What exactly did you do? I started to shake physically. I was turning on the iron, closing the refrigerator and thinking what did he arrange and why everything. I didn't fall asleep until 3 in the morning. My mind was full of options, a divorce, another woman, money, children. I went to the kitchen and poured myself some wine. I sat silently looking out the window and his bag was lying on the chair next to me. He rarely left it behind. But this time he forgot. Maybe he didn't forget, but on purpose, who knows. I looked inside. There were documents inside. The first was a deed of gift for the house. The name was Roxy Hudson. My address, her name. And then I realized I wasn't the owner anymore. I just haven't been kicked out yet. But it's not yet. Being betrayed hurts. But when you are betrayed officially with wet seals, it is a different level of contempt. I sat with those papers as if stunned. A deed of gift. For a house. Roxy Hudson owns it. My house. My hands built it. I laid the tiles in the kitchen, washed these windows in the rain, did the laundry when I didn't even have money for detergent, and now none of this is mine. Have I become a guest in someone else's life again? Only this time it was in my own home. I called. Joan. Tell me I'm going crazy, I said, swallowing the lump in my throat. You're not going crazy. You just lived with a bastard, she replied, and half an hour later she was sitting in my kitchen with cookies and a bottle of Chardonnay. It's a real deed of gift, she said. You don't need to be a lawyer. See. Signature, seal, luck at a notary. It's all clear. He had no right. He did. If the house is registered in his name, he has the right. And now he has donated it, and that's it, like a sandwich. I remembered how we bought this house. I sold my mom's jewelry to make a down payment. I worked in 2 places selling cosmetics during the day and cleaning apartments at night. Back then, he was working on ideas. And now that who idea is Roxy with legs to her ears and pink nails. I want to kill him, I whispered, clenching my fists. That won't help. Joan stood up and looked me in the eye. Oh no, you don't want to be in jail while Roxy grows violets on your balcony, do you? The truth hurt more than the lie. I didn't have a plan. Just pain and fear. Because where would I go? And to do what? My pension is 10 years away. I have no job. I don't even know how to use new computers. And I still have a little dignity not to go live with my children. The next day, I went to the office where the gift deed was drawn up. Just to look into the eyes of the person who had taken my house away from me with his signature. You signed this, didn't you? I showed the documents to a woman with short hair and a cigarette voice. It was a gift. Everything is legal. Did you check if the man was married? It's not necessary. If the property is not joint, he can give it to anyone, not jointly owned. It turns out that all my life I thought we were together. And we just lived on his territory. I didn't know what to expect next, but I decided to act. I went to the bank where we had an account. I hadn't been there for a long time. He was always the one who did it. Good afternoon. I'm Harry Coleman's wife. I'd like to know the status of our accounts, I said, trying to sound confident. I'm sorry, but he didn't give you access to the accounts, the girl with glasses replied politely. We're together. He transferred all the money to another account. In the name of Roxy Hudson. That's when my legs gave out. The house is Roxy's. The money, Roxy. What about me? Who am I? I returned home with an empty soul and full of fear. He came home late. He came in like a master, as if nothing had happened. He put a bottle of wine on the table and said, we need to talk. But no hysterics. I sat down across from him. For the first time in my life, not as a wife, but as an enemy. He opened the bottle and poured himself a drink. I know you found out everything. I didn't want it to be like this. But he took a sip. I just want to be happy. I have the right to be happy. What about me? What about my happiness? But I didn't say anything, because now I knew I had only one thing, the plan. I thought Roxy was just a pretty rapper. Sexy, young, no brains. But I was wrong. She wasn't stupid. She was dangerous. I saw her for the first time not on Instagram or in lipstick prints on my husband's collar. I saw her in person, on my doorstep. Roxy was smiling like someone who had already won. She was holding a box in her hands, as if she were visiting someone, only that the guest was already the host. Hi! You must be Linda. Her voice was high, a little strained, as if she was practicing in front of a mirror. And you probably don't know what you're doing. He left it with me. I stared at her long nails, artificial smile, and luxurious curls in silence. This wasn't just a fling. It was a war. I wanted to hit her, lay a throw that box at her, kick her out, yell at her. But something stopped me. An instinct, not a woman's instinct, a human one. An animal instinct. The same silence that occurs when a predator sees another predator. If you brought the things, leave them on the porch. You're not coming inside. Not yet? I can do it now? I said no. It's still my space while I'm here. It's only a matter of time. Harry said you were normal. I smiled. Perhaps that's how women smile when they cooked borscht yesterday, and today they are searching on Google for how much they can get for setting property on fire. After that incident, I started looking. Everything I could find about Roxy, anime, social media, comments, old photos, and you know what? Her life looked like a set. Perfect selfies, glamorous restaurants, the love of my life. Every 6 months and no real emotion. Only a visual attack. And then one message in the neighborhood group. Did anyone else see Mr. Coleman's new passionate girlfriend take boxes out of the garage? Something from his work tools was in there. I almost fell over. She was already taking things out of the garage. That meant she had gone deeper than I thought. I thought of Frank, an old friend of Harry's from his construction business, that had long since gone into hiding. "It's Linda. Oh, and do you remember me? Linda Coleman." "Of course I do. What happened?" I didn't explain. I just asked to see him. And he said yes. In the corner cave I heard more than I wanted to. Harry was like a brother to me. But lately he's been weird. That Roxy had him all to herself. She's not just a lover. She's a player. I think she's blackmailing him. Blackmailing him. I'm not sure, but he took $20,000 out of his account and put it in her name. I saw it myself. She also asked me to help her register a fictitious company in her name. It took my breath away. She didn't just want my husband. She wanted everything, and him? He, the fool, did not even realize that he had become a pawn in her game. I returned home with shaking hands. Harry was in the living room, watching the news as if nothing had happened. "You realize she's using you, don't you?" I told him bluntly. "She's getting money out of you. Blackmailing you. She's playing some kind of scam." He laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. "You've always been paranoid. Maybe it's a good thing we're not together anymore." I looked at him and suddenly realizing he was afraid. Not of me, of her. But he won't admit it. Because men are afraid to admit that they are being deceived. That night I did not sleep. I looked at the ceiling and thought, what if Roxy is not just a lover? What if she won't stop? And if Harry disappears tomorrow, will the police come knocking on my door? I decided not to wait any longer. I called a private detective. Because now it's not about love anymore. It's about survival. There are phrases that stick to your heart like rust to metal. They are simple, but after them nothing will be the same. Harry said one of them, and I realized that I had no right to remain silent any longer. It was early Saturday morning. I had just sat down with my coffee on the porch when the phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number, but something inside me told me to answer it. "Hey, Mrs. Coleman, it's Blake Gardner." "Yes, I'm listening. I have news." "Not over the phone." Can you meet me today?" It's like an electric shock. It's not just a lover. It's more than that. Blake was waiting at the same coffee shop where I'd met Frank the other day. He looked modest, but his eyes were like those of a wolf. A man who'd seen a lot. I did what they asked. I checked her out. Her real name is Roxanne Murray. She changed her documents 5 years ago. Before that, she was Jonna Brooks. So she's got a record. A con artist. She worked a group that extorted money from men through fake marriages, blackmail, and setups. Then she would disappear. I almost dropped my cup. And now she's with my husband. She's got him wrapped around her finger. She's filming his correspondence and conversations. I think she has something that can finish him off. When I got home, Harry was standing in the yard with the phone. "Where were you? Why are you so nervous? Are you afraid that your he-girlfriend hasn't kept up with your footsteps?" His face turned pale. "Stay out of this, Linda. It's none of your business. You took my life, my home, my peace, my trust, and now you want me to keep quiet. Then he exploded. "If you don't shut up, you'll lose everything. I will make sure that you are recognized as mentally unstable. You know I have connections and money." I slammed on the brakes of my thoughts. He wasn't joking. I could see it in his eyes. My husband of over 30 years had just threatened me. And I knew that if I didn't act quickly, he could really destroy me legally. Psychologically. I sat in the car and couldn't breathe. My fingers were shaking, my heart was pounding like a drum. But my brain was working. I knew that silence is death, and not just mine. Harry was getting involved in dark things, and Roxy, she could blow it all into a fire. That night I gathered all the documents I could find. Old invoices, copies of property titles, camera footage that we hadn't turned off yet. I put everything on a flash drive and hid it away, not at home. I also made a copy and sent it to Blake, in case something happened to me. And I knew she was in the city. and I knew where to find her. We need to talk, Roxy. Linda, I don't think that. It's not a request. We were sitting across from each other at a bar. She was wearing an expensive dress. I was wearing a coat I'd bought 10 years ago. But the difference was not in the money. Harry is still my husband legally. And I have more than you realize. What do you want? You want me to leave? Oh, I want you to know that I have records. About your schemes, the money, the companies, your old names. Roxy smiled, but her eyes darkened. So you're playing hardball? No, just being honest. Hey, she leaned closer to me and whispered, you don't know who you're dealing with yet. I'm not playing alone. And silence is not your choice. It is a condition of survival. And at that moment I realized that this game had not yet begun. But they say there are no winners in war, only survivors. But I never thought I would have to fight with my own people, with those whom I carried under my heart, put my soul into, and did not sleep at night. And now another front. Heck, Mom, why didn't you tell me anything? My daughter's voice was tense. What was I supposed to say, Emily? That Dad had a mistress and signed over all the property to her. Or that he's threatening to put me in a psychiatric hospital. But Mom, that's enough drama. Maybe you're exaggerating. I felt something squeezing my throat from the inside. You sound like him, I whispered. Has he already done you in? Silence. Then an exhale. He said you were nervous, a threat you at that to Roxy, that you were unstable, and he asked me to influence you. That's it. My heart just sank. The next day, our son, Jason, called. Mom, I'm sorry you and Dad didn't get back together. But I want to stay out of it. What do you mean? I don't want to get involved in your fight. I have a family of my own. Did you know he gave Roxy our house in Michigan, and the company you helped build? Silence. That's his business, Mom. He has a right to be happy, too. I was so angry. Not just for the betrayal, but for this indifference. I was the one who sewed their Halloween costumes, cooked for them at night when they were sick, and now Dad has the right to happiness. And my mom, is she already past her due date? I took out the albums. The first day of school, the trip to Niagara, those sleepless Christmases where I stood by the stove with a fever. I looked at those photos and asked myself when they grew up and forgot who gave them all this. I couldn't take it anymore. I called Emily. We have to see each other, and not on the phone. Okay, just take it easy, Mom. She came with a bottle of wine, as if she were visiting a sick person. The smile on her face was stretched like an old rubber band. I just want to understand, she said. Are you sure Roxy is a con artist? What if Dad just fell in love with a woman who's used a fake name and has already used 3 others? That's not love, Emily. That's fraud. Maybe, she said softly. But he's our father. And even if he makes a mistake, it's his mistake. And then I realizing they are no longer with us. Their front is not mine. They see only the cover without reading the content. And they think I'm a crazy old woman who is jealous of a younger woman. When Emily left, I sat in the dark for a long time. There was no voice in the house, no support. Then Blake called. Linda, you need to know that Harry has not only signed over the property. He opened new accounts, and he's named Emily as a trustee. What? Yes. And Jason is listed as a co-owner of one of the new companies where money from your old business is being pumped. This is not just a breakup. This is a stab in the back. And those whom I considered my support have become part of someone else's game. Or maybe they have become players themselves. I didn't cry, I just felt cold. The next morning I received an official letter. A demand to leave one of the houses within a week. The signature was Emily Colliman, Harry Colliman's trustee. I held the letter in my hands and couldn't breathe. This is no longer a family. This is a battlefield. Sometimes the biggest betrayal is not an act, but something you were never told about. A secret that has been lined around all your life, breathing quietly in the back of your head, and you didn't even realize it. And now it's out in the open, and you're not sure you've ever lived in reality. In the evening, I found another envelope in my mailbox. But this time it was not from the bank, not from lawyers. It was from a woman whose name almost made my stomach cramp, Alice Harrington. She used to be Harry's best friend, and I, a fool, believed that nothing happened between them. We even celebrated our 30 years of marriage together. And then the letter came. Linda, I'm sorry to write to you after all these years, but the truth doesn't let me sleep anymore. Harry is not who you thought he was. He has a different past, and you need to know about it. If not for your own sake, then for the sake of the children. This was followed by lines that sent a chill down my spine. Harry, it turns out, had a common-law wife before we met. She got pregnant, but he left her. He said that it was not his style to drag a family down. That woman, Sarah, died due to complications after childbirth, and the child, a boy, grew up in a foster home. Alice wrote that many years later, Harry tried to find his son, not out of remorse, but to silence him. Because a boy named Alex grew up, started digging, and came across the documents. I sat there holding that letter, and only one thing was going through my mind: he had been lying his whole life. I married a man who gave up his child, wife, his life, and he didn't blink an eye. And now I'm just another person who can be disowned by a notary. I called Alice. I knew you'd find out eventually, she said. I just didn't think it would be this late. Where is he, this guy? He lives in Seattle. He works for an organization that helps orphans, and he knows about you. But he didn't dare contact me. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you all say anything? I lived with him. I gave birth to his children. Because we were afraid. Because Harry is not just a man. And he's cunning, he knows how to put pressure. And he's always had connections. And you lived with him. You were a shield, did not see what it was protecting. My life began to crumble like an old mirror in small pieces, each with a lie in it. I remembered all those evenings when he came home late. All the business trips, all the fragments of phrases that seemed unimportant at the time. And now it's like a map of lies. The next morning, I arrived at his company's office without a call, without warning. He was not there. He was in New York. He's lying. The security guard, an old acquaintance, grumbled. They locked themselves in a conference room. I opened my laptop, entered a name. Half an hour later, the foundation's page, the phone number. Then the phone rang. Hello? Hi. Is your name Alex? Yes. My name is Linda Coleman. I think we have a mutual acquaintance. His name is Harry Coleman. He's been silence, deep, tense. I know who you are. I've been waiting for this call. I closed my eyes. It's for the first time in a long time. Not out of pain, but out of hope. Because maybe the truth, though dirty as fuel oil, is better than this poisoned silence. Alex offered to meet me, and I agreed. Although I didn't know why. To hear even more truth, or just to see someone who suffered as much as I did in this story. We agreed to meet on Saturday, at the coffee shop where I once celebrated our first anniversary with Harry. There, everything would begin anew. Sometimes the last chance comes not as a gift, but as a sentence. But it's better to know than to continue living with an illusion. Even if the truth hurts so much that your ribs crack. A coffee shop in the city center. That's not the same as 20 years ago. Now it's trendy, with prices that make you swallow not only coffee, but also pride. I ordered a cappuccino, put the cup on the table, and waited. Alex came in at 12 o'clock sharp. He was tall, calm, a hyena with eyes like Harry's. The same as my son Billy's. Linda, he asked softly. Yes, and just like him. Sometimes it's a curse. I smiled crookedly, and we sat down. He told me everything. About growing up in a foster home. How at 18 he found out about his biological mother and started looking for his father. How he got on Harry's trail. I didn't take it, Alex said. Because I didn't want money, I wanted the truth. And what did you do? I walked away. I thought he would come back to me in time. But he didn't. I looked at him, and somewhere inside, anger began to stir. Not at Alex. I was angry with myself. I lived my life with a man who knew how to pretend. He knew how to love without you suspecting anything. He knew how to betray you with a smile, and to remain silent, even when the lie was already breathing down your neck. And now, I asked, now I know that I am not alone in this war. I opened my bag and took out an envelope. It contained copies of documents, property re-registration, bills, notarized agreements. I gave them to Alex. This is your inheritance. I don't want your property, he said. I know. But it's not for you. It's so you can have a gun. Because when Harry starts to pull a fast one, and he will, you have to have something to answer with. When I got home, my phone was ringing. Harry, Linda, we need to talk. And it's late. Please just give me a chance. You've had more than the days on the calendar. He was wearing the same jacket he wore to Mia's wedding. His eyes were tired, but still with the same cold determination that I had always mistaken for courage. You don't know the whole story. I know enough. You have a son, Harry. That was before us. What about Roxy after? And I didn't cheat on you. We just jaw tightened, and then he dropped Ida, she's carrying my baby. I didn't fall. I didn't scream. I just froze. Like ice. Good. Good what? I'm leaving everything. Martha House, the bills, the company. Everything. But you have to sign a waiver and never come into my life again. Oh, you can't. This is everything I've achieved. Or it's everything I've built. On you. Oh, while you spent money on other people's children, I worked. While you promised me fidelity, I lived in an illusion. Now it's your turn to live without support. I was left alone in a room full of silence. Una but for the first time without fear. Because fear had already burned out. In the evening, Alex wrote a message. I'm ready to help. If you want to fight, I'm here for you. And I realized that I was not alone. And this is not the end. This is the beginning of another battle. Sometimes love does not smell like perfume, but like money. And its taste is not honeyed, but bitter, like nerve pills. When you have an epiphany, there is no turning back. Roxy is here, without warning, without a hint of shame. And she just knocked on my door, smiling like a best friend, not the woman who was making my marriage fall apart like a house of cards. Hi, Linda, she said sweetly. We need to talk. I silently stepped aside. It's okay. I didn't mean for this to happen. She began, immediately saying what people who have done exactly what they wanted to do usually say. Adamana sat down at my desk, the same one where I used to write holiday cards, plan family dinners, and calculate budgets. And now she was sitting at it younger, sassier, with a belly that she instantly emphasized was ours. Harry wants to be a good father, she said, looking me in the eye. I know about your plans, about the transfer of the company. About Alex, he has no right. Do you? I asked. Do you? I have love. Love? Echo like a discount on morality, like a pass through all the rules. She really believed that this was an excuse, that you can break up a family, squeeze a man's business out of him, live in his estate all because of love. Okay, let's do it this way. Tell me exactly how you met. No pathos, just the facts. Dates, names, she went pale. Well, I just worked in an office. First as an intern. Then Harry. He offered to help. By chance in a hotel room. It wasn't, Well, he wasn't happy with you. I laughed. For the first time, genuinely. And so loudly that she flinched. And you know who was unhappy? Me. Because while I was treating his mom in the last months of her life, he was out with you in expensive restaurants. And one more thing, Roxy. I know it wasn't love. It was an arrangement. She froze. Oh, yeah? I have proof. Payments from our account to your nonprofit registered in Miami, $80,000. For what? For love. Look, she sighed. I'm just surviving. And you have everything. How is that fair? There it is, a real face. No makeup, no sweet words. I have nothing, Roxy. I'm 60 years old. I've lost my husband, my business, even my children. They don't know who to believe. But you know what? I'm still me, and you're just a good con in a short dress. This isn't over, she hissed. No, I nodded. It's just the beginning. Of your end. She walked out, slamming the door. A few minutes later, I received a message from my lawyer. Harry had filed a lawsuit against me for the division of property. But this time I was ready, because I had the truth on my side, and Alex. And one more thing that no one guesses. When the man to whom you gave your life turns into an enemy, you stop playing love and start playing survival. And survival is not just about defending yourself. It is to attack. It's cold, careful, no mistakes. Linda, it's Alex. I need to see you. I found something. I didn't know what he'd found yet, but my heart was already pounding like a girl on her first date. For some reason, fear and hope are the most powerful aphrodisiacs in life. We met in a small cafe in the center. I came early. He was 15 minutes late, and when he finally sat down across from me, his eyes were shining like I hadn't seen them in a long time. "Everything is here," he said quietly. All the company's financial reports for the last 2 years. And then some payments to Roxy. She wasn't just getting paid as a lover. She's a partner. In what? I gripped my coffee cup so hard I burned myself. Harry was running money through her firm. They were siphoning money out of the business by billing fictitious services. Advertising, consulting, even some personal growth training. All fake. But you can prove it. But why would he do that? He already had everything. Alex sighed. Because he was afraid of losing it, and he wanted a backup. And then there's the debt. He owed someone a lot of money. It looks like he's gambling. This is not just a betrayal. It's a collapse. If you don't do something now, you will not only be left without a home, but also in debt. I wanted to scream, smash the cup, to run to Harry and poke his eyes out. But I exhaled. Then it was time to act quietly, properly, with a cool head. The first thing is to go to your lawyer. But not to the one who used to guide us. A new one. Tough. Without sentiment. The second thing is to fix everything legally, all the documents, payments, reports. And even more importantly, to record that Roxy was not just a passion, but an accomplice. The third thing was to officially remove Alex from the company. As a partner. But in such a way that Harry would not suspect. He was dry stern, without a smile. He was perfect. I told him everything I knew. I handed him the flash drive. "Your situation is not exceptional," he said, "but you have every chance of winning. And more than that, you have a chance to get it all back. But I warn Yug, it will be messy." "I'm not afraid of dirt," I replied. "I've been living in it for the last 6 months. Now it's my turn to get dirty." When I left the office, new messages were glowing on my phone. It was from Harry. "You've gone too far. I warned you. Get ready for war." And the last one was a photo, me and Roxy, at the cafe, from a hidden camera. He already knew I had it, that something was coming. I realized one thing: there would be no more playing in the shadows. Now everything will come out. I'm not a victim anymore. And he knows it. I called Alex. It's time for the second stage." "Are you ready?" he asked quietly. "I've had 3 children, survived chemo with my mom, buried my father, and lived with Harry for 30 years. I'm more than ready." That night I didn't sleep. For the first time, not because of tears. It was because of my plans. Because this time I will not give anything away. Not even the shadow of my name. And yes, I may lose in court. But I will definitely win in the truth. A true revenge is not a scandal, not a scream, not a house on fire. It is quiet, like the night before a storm. It waits for the enemy to relax. And then it cuts accurately and without regret. That was the moment that came. Harry did not know that he had already lost. I disappeared from all radars. No calls, no letters, no responses. Even my children didn't know where I was. I seemed to have evaporated. But in fact, I was preparing. For a precise, ruthless blow. My lawyer acted quickly. The lawsuit had already been filed. Against the company, against Roxy, and Harry himself. And there was more than enough evidence. I wasn't trying to take everything away from him. No. I wanted to make him feel what I felt: helplessness, fear, loneliness, and a loss of control. For the first time in years, I felt calm. I didn't run away. I didn't beg. I didn't prove it. I just kept going. Alex supported me. Often we were not a couple. But he became someone who saw me not just as Clec's wife. He saw strength in me. And that was even more important than love. We blocked all the company's bank accounts. And Harry's personal ones, too. Whenever he went off the rails, he called me. He made threats. But all to no avail, because I was silent. The lawyer passed some leaks to the local newspaper. The articles were dirty, but accurate. Roxy's is a mistress, a con artist, a fake entrepreneur. Harry is a businessman who made money through soul training and motivational seminars that never existed. Their faces appeared in the news. They were discussed on Facebook. And what is worse for them, in local neighborhood groups. And this, as you know, is more frightening than a court of law. Harry wrote to me briefly. Why are you doing this? I replied even more briefly. You did first. A week later, I got a call from her lawyer. She was ready to negotiate. She offered to part ways peacefully, to give away some of the property, even to write a public apology. I smiled. Peacefully, after you wanted to leave me homeless. After you wiped your feet on my name. Linda, please. Roxy's voice was trembling. I didn't know everything. I hung up the phone. I was going to see Harry, in person, for the first time since our last fight. He didn't look like himself. Not the confident, smiling man I remembered. Now he was an exhausted, graying man with shaking hands. He was sitting in the kitchen like a schoolboy caught stealing. Why did you come? He grunted. So you could see. So you wouldn't say later that you didn't know who you were dealing with. I'm the one who pulled you out of the shit when we were young. The one who gave up the best years so you could have all this. And now I'm the one who's taking it back. I was stupid, Linda. His eyes sparkled. I'm sorry. I didn't think. Exactly. You didn't think. And here we are. I turned and walked away. No screaming, no hysteria, no words. Because sometimes silence hurts more than any curse. He remained sitting in the kitchen alone with his destroyed world. I returned house, to my space. And for the first time in a long time, I made myself tea, without panic, without tears. The children did not know everything yet, but I was ready, because now I had the most important thing, peace, and freedom, and a new life that was just beginning. But there was one thing, one detail that I kept to myself for now, something that could change everything once again, but more on that later. My hands were trembling with anticipation. Now everything was final. What had been happening lately made me feel like I was no longer the lonely woman who sat dutifully at home while her husband had his secrets. I was someone else reborn. And from now on, I had all the power in my hands. The years I had spent in doubt, submitting to the idea that I should leave things as they were long gone. But even after I had won the battle for my freedom, there was still this empty, anxious space inside me. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something else out there, something I was missing. Roxy and Harry finally left my life. Their fall was harsh, but deserved. But I was ready for a new life. I could even see it in every decision, in every step. All that remained was to determine what exactly I wanted from this new path. And from whom. I walked the streets without thinking about what I was doing. It was a usual walk in the afternoon when the sun had not yet become too bright. I wanted to get some fresh air and feel how my body, which had been forced into the framework of other people's decisions for many years, was finally recovering. Alex called again. Linda, I know you've been through some hard times, but are you ready to move on? His voice was calm, but I could hear a kind of hope in it. And not just for me. All these years, when I was locked in the walls of the house and the role of a wife seemed to be the only thing worth my existence, everything has changed now. I was able to get out of that shadow. I could be anyone I wanted to be, a successful woman, a strong and independent person who found the strength to leave someone who was not capable of appreciating me. But what now? I didn't want fame or fortune. I didn't think about getting everything I could out of life anymore. I just wanted to live the way I wanted to, without restrictions and without shame. But I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid to start all over again. I can do it on my own, without fear, without regret. It was a step into the unknown, into my real life. But you can't leave in the past what determines your future. Yes, I took this step. I decided to act the way I want. I don't think I'll be surprised if I realize someday that with everything that happened, I may not have come to the real end, and that's not even what scared me. What happens next? Now I can choose. Now you understand who you are, Alex told me the day we met for the first time after everything. And I smiled. It will begin when you stop being afraid of choices. And I'm ready for that now.